So we're working on a system today that has reportedly been leaking refrigerant. He said he's had refrigerant added to it like 3 times or 4 times and had at least 2 companies do a thorough leak inspection. The companies that did the leak inspection added a seal kit into the system, or seal and die kit, which is supposed to plug really tiny leaks from the inside of the system, and also where it is leaking it lets some colored dye out that makes it a lot easier to find the leaks. So he called us and asked if we could come check it out. The other company told him that probably his coil on the indoor portion needed to be replaced because it was reportedly leaking in the coil. Had leaks in a couple spots that were really small, is what they said. So I already checked the indoor coil and didn't really see any leaks in there. Out here I actually found a leak almost immediately, so I'll show you what we're looking at here. So this is where they brazed the air conditioner to the line set, liquid line filter dryer, and then it goes right into here. And right away I noticed that there's a greenish hue kind of on the outside of here, so I just kind of swiped my fingers on it, and you can see there is some oily greeny dye. So I'm sure it's leaking at this connection. I used my digital leak detector then and got like a really high reading off of there. So let's soap it. I haven't soaped it yet, but I think it's leaking right here on the back. Oh yeah. See right there? And that is a huge leak, so I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know. That needs to be fixed, obviously. I would not add to a system like this. He said they had, before they added the seal kit, it was all leaking out in a matter of like 2 weeks. And then he had to have refrigerant added again. So that's a giant leak. So we'll pump out what refrigerant is in there. If I wipe this off so you can actually see what the leak looks like, it looks to me like there's just a pit in the braze. See that? There's kind of a hole. So right there, there's just a little pit in the braze. In fact, it's a large enough leak, I can audibly hear it hissing. Look at that. So, yep, I'm pretty sure that there actually aren't any leaks on the indoor coil and that this has been the culprit all along. So here's the indoor coil. Relatively new system installed in 2018. And I already checked with the digital leak detector. Didn't really find any big readings. Soaped this down. Kind of interesting that they put a regular hose clamp on the expansion valve. Technically you're supposed to use the strap that came with it because the hose clamp can impart extra heat into it and then it won't really read properly. And usually these are installed between 10 and 2, and you're supposed to try to get them on a straight horizontal piece, but it's kind of curved. Probably it will work fine the way it is though. I just soaped down that one. Sometimes where that nut gets tightened on can leak, and then I just soaped kind of all over in here, and I don't see any significant bubbling. It'll kind of build up like a little dome of white foam if there actually is a leak, but I think we're good. And I did run the digital leak detector down and back on each of these coil faces. That one was really tricky, so I didn't really do this one as thoroughly, but again, I'm pretty sure the only leak in the system is actually outside because of how large it is. So we're just going to bleed the air out of here. And I love this fitting. Some of you were commenting that I should just get one of these, and yeah, it's amazing to have one of these because you can basically, you thread this on, and then when you turn this in, it opens the Schrader valve, so you don't have to get sprayed with liquid refrigerant whenever you have to deal with the high side. And that is totally worth it. They're like 20 bucks, 15, 20 bucks. I'll link in the description below to one of these, but I love having that thing. And then we'll just hook up to our recovery machine and get recovering. So refrigerant from where it's hooked to the air conditioner goes into the gauges and down this center pipe into the recovery machine, and then out of the recovery machine and into the cylinder. And I did tear that out, so I'm weighing how much refrigerant we actually get out of the system, just because I'm kind of curious how much is actually in there. And then, yeah, we'll just fix this little leak. So, pretty sure that's the only leak. While it's pumping down, I might go run the digital leak detector a little more, just to make sure there's nothing else that escaped my attention earlier. So now, just remove the Schrader core, and we're going to purge some nitrogen through the system while we braze it to cut down on oxides. You don't necessarily have to do this, but this is the best way, technically speaking. I don't know if it actually makes that much of a difference, but I do it some of the time. Okay, so we're gonna braze it up here. I'm using 0% silver and the turbo torch. I'll have to leave you back there because I don't want to burn the camera. Basically just going to come in here like this. The igniter no longer works on my torch, so I always have to light it with a separate lighter. Came around the backside here, heated the puddle of braze and where that big droplet and pit was, and then took the braze and kind of worked it up in there. Now I actually had some difficulty getting this to braze shut, and I think it was because there was an oxide layer on the pipe and the fitting underneath of the braze. So once I started heating it with the torch and that puddle went molten again, the puddle was still just not really adhering to the fitting. So I ended up having to do like a scrubbing technique where I like scrub against the oxides using the stick of braze. That actually was silver. It was flowing really nice and thick. You don't want to get these valves too hot. Peel it off with a little soap. And now that little pit that was there should be gone. It actually kind of looks bad still. I'm going to look at that a little closer. And it was kind of not wanting to stick to this material for a moment, so I had to kind of scrub the braze on it. But as long as we actually got it sealed, it doesn't have to look really pretty. So then I always close off the tank, and there's still pressure in here from pumping it down, which would normally just be a loss. But I always let that into the system and do a leak check before I pull a vacuum on it. And I think it actually helps a lot with purging out any moisture that might be in the system, as well as keeps you from wasting time in case you didn't get the joint brazed properly. So we'll just inspect that quick. Wow, so I actually did not get it. If you look here, you can see it is blowing a bubble. So right on the bottom of this, oh yeah, it's still leaking big time. So I'm not exactly sure where, but there's another little pinhole that I still didn't get. I might have been running the nitrogen through it a little bit too fast. Oh yeah, right there, now you see it. So I'm going to rebraze it again. So yeah, that one was really difficult to braze for whatever reason. Just pinholed on me twice, but we got it now. I think maybe the copper connection wasn't really clean enough when they brazed it. So there's basically a layer of oxide that's trapped underneath of the braze. So just kept wanting to wick back from the actual braze connection. But I think we got it now. I've got like 25 PSI in the system again, and just kind of running the soap on it, and I think we're good now. So yeah, I think we'll vac it down and recharge it. So vacuuming it down, that'll get rid of most of the impurities, but since they added a seal kit to this system and it was just pressurized, it'll actually take several hours to get rid of all the like refrigerant that's bubbling out of the oil and bubbling out of the leak detector stuff. Also, that stuff can kind of vaporize. So I'm just going to pull what I would consider to be a good vacuum. I'm not going to pull deep vacuum and use like a micron gauge, just because it would take so much time. So we're going to vac it down and then add refrigerant in, and it'll be good. You actually might not even be able to get a full system with a seal kit in it to pull a like lower than 500 micron vacuum. Factory charge on this puppy is 3.15 pounds. But anyway, yeah, here we go. We'll add in on the low side. You can see our pressure is also coming up on the high side then. I like to do that just to make sure. Sometimes when you have to rebraze something like that a couple times, I have heard of braze getting into the joint and actually plugging the pipe. I've never seen it happen, but I have heard of it. So yeah, whether or not that's true, I don't know. Now we can just dump in. I like to put in about half the charge before starting the system. So we'll put in 2 pounds and then I'll go inside and start the system. So it's about 90 degrees in the house. This is a really high number. So I hope there's nothing wrong with the expansion valve, but it is actually cooling. I think it's mostly just that the house is really hot. As the house cools, it should surge back down to around like 40. But 55 is quite high. You can see our liquid saturation is right around 95. So we're not really that like over full in any way. I just wouldn't want to see that number higher than 30 above ambient. I'll probably pull a temperature reading on the line there and just see what our subcooling is, because we want to be around 10 degrees subcooling. So I still actually might need to add a little refrigerant. So it settled out about 8 degrees of subcooling. I think I'm gonna call that good just because we're so high on the low side. And that should come down. The house is probably 87 or 88 degrees. We'll go measure the temps we're getting downstairs, but this number should come down as the house cools. It's also super humid, so as the humidity pulls out, it actually won't be able to really drop the house temperature. It has to kind of dry it out before it can start dropping the house temperature. It's kind of weird how it works. Really warm upstairs. Check in the basement. Basement's a lot cooler. Oh, it feels so much better down here. So the ductwork's getting a little sweaty, so that's kind of a good sign. And we want to see about a 15 degree drop across the coil. 15 to 20, I think, is kind of what they say. So if we've got 80 degree air coming in and we're getting 60 out, that's right in line. Yeah, so incoming air around like 75, outgoing around 60, so that's about 15 degrees, so that's good. That's what we want to see. So this should pull the moisture out of the house and actually cool everything down. Might just take it a little bit of time. So here's what's so fantastic. We just turn this little screw back, and then we can open this, letting the refrigerant across into the gauges, and then we can just bleed the pressure back into the system. It also helps us know that this is indeed, the Schrader valve is indeed closed, because these pressures will equalize, just like they're doing there. So now, I can just bleed off the rest of the pressure in the hoses there, and I can take this off. No liquid refrigerant spraying out and frostbiting my fingertips, which I have had happen on multiple occasions. Never a fun time. Always make sure your O-ring is seated in there. Looks like we're good. And pressure has come down a little bit. Still really high, but like I said, they had all their windows open, so on a 90 degree day, so the house was very hot. But yeah, looks like this one is done. So anyway, hope that you enjoyed the video, and I will talk to you guys later. Looks good. And you can see the condensates are flowing again, so that's always a good sign.